blacksmith shop or a tool room. So if a miner needed a tool somewhere down the road, he would send the nipper down here, and chances are they had him stockpiled pretty good. So he could just grab what he needed and then run back to the miner. If they didn't have something here, if the miner needed a particular type of tool, the blacksmith would have to make it for him right here. Come on down. Come on down. Now, when they first started giving tours here, they gave it on the 7th level above us. This is the 10th level. Now, if you could imagine being on a tour while they were still using dynamite and mining down here, I think that would be awesome.
Wow.
They won't let us do it though for some reason. Now, when the tour finally came down here, they went straight through this crosscut, all the way back to the skip, and then from there, the tour was over. You go back to the surface. The mid-70s, they decided to make the tour a little bit larger for the folks. So they started blasting through here. Now, before they did that, you can imagine since the late 1800s, hundreds of miners were walking through here every day, not knowing that within 15 feet of where they were walking was a large gold vein. Now, when they discovered that, it made nationwide headline news. In fact, Dan Rather reported on that. Gold discovered in Cripple Creek once again. But again, the problem was that gold didn't really raise in value that much, so they just left it there. Now again, if I were to be left alone down here by myself, that's probably one of the ones I would start picking at. Let me get everybody to step back away from the tram. I'm going to go ahead and send it back. My boss said I could do whatever I want on my last day here.
There it goes.
Eventually, they broke into a room about 45 feet higher and wider than a room like this one here. And that's called a VUG, V-U-G. And a VUG is formed when the steam from the volcano, once the volcano starts to cool off, it'll release steam. The steam is so incredibly hot that it just kind of carves out a room like this. When they went into this VUG, the gold was so thick on the walls that they could literally walk by and just scrape it off with their hands.
Crazy.
Now back then, gold was $20.67 an ounce. Back then, in 1 month, this mine made $20 million. Back then.
Oh.
Imagine what that's worth today. I mean, that's, and the geologists say that only 8% of the gold has been taken out of the ground up here in the district. Today's prices, that's billions and billions of dollars. If we were to get the rest out, imagine what that would do to the price of gold. It would drop it down to zero. It wouldn't be worth anything. But there are still trillions of dollars worth of gold up here.
Crazy.
And I'm still trying to get my hands on it. Now this one here is also from Victor. This is called the Strong Mine. Sam Strong owned this mine, and he was in severe debt. He owned a mine, but he thought it would be so easy to get the gold out of the ground. He didn't realize how much work it actually was to get the gold out. He turned into an alcoholic. He had a huge ego. He loved to drink. There were over 150 different saloons in Cripple Creek at one time. And he ended up stumbling into the Newport Saloon. When he was there, for whatever reason, him and Grant Crumley got into an argument. Grant reached underneath the bar, pulled out a shotgun, and at point blank range shot Sam, killing him instantly. Now, if this guy wasn't such a huge alcoholic and had such a huge ego and loved to fight, 1 month after he died, his mine produced $13 million worth of gold, and he never got to see one penny of it. There's a moral here somewhere, but I don't have time to go into it. Now, what we do every single day before we come down here and give tours, most of us tour guides here are either 3rd or 4th generation miners. We'll come down here with some 5-gallon buckets. We'll go to some of the higher gold concentrated areas that we have down here that I would never show you. We'll take some of those rocks up to the surface, crush them down into little pieces, bring them back down here and throw them in this ore bin. I'm going to give each one of you a piece of the gold ore to take home with you. Before I do, remember there's two ways to extract the gold out of here. One is a chemical process you don't want to do. The other is to roast it, like you see here. When you heat this rock up to about 1800 degrees for about an hour, that gold will liquefy and bubble up to the surface. From there you can crush it down and then pan it out or whatever. But again, unless you don't know what you're doing, or unless you know what you're doing, I don't recommend you do this. We have iron pyrite down here, which is fool's gold. When that gets to a certain temperature, it releases a very toxic gas. So I don't recommend you do it. Also, I don't want any more letters saying, well, why didn't you tell me not to put it in the microwave? Don't put it in the microwave. Now that's what we're looking for. Look at that, all that purple. That came right out of the gold vein. Ooh, here's a really good one. The white stuff there is called quartz crystal, Rocky Mountain quartz crystal. If you see that sticking out of the wall like that with no traces of fluoride around it, you still want to check that area because the fluoride and the quartz crystal like to hang out together a lot. And there's another one. See that quartz crystal on top and then the vein underneath?
What's this brown stuff?
Oh, that's called leverite. If you find a rock with nothing but that on it, you want to leave it right there because it's not worth anything. There we go. There's a good one. There's a good one there. That's got some of that quartz. Come on down, guys. See that vein going all the way? To get the rocks out of the ground is with this thing here. This is called a windlass. One miner would stand on this side, another miner would stand over here, and they would take out these buckets, one bucket at a time. Imagine how long that took just to do it that way. After a while, they eventually came up with stuff like this steam hoist. This is an original 1800 steam hoist right here. I'm going to demonstrate for you folks how this works. Imagine that bucket being full of dirt. I got to bring it up to this level here, and then somehow, without manhandling it, I have to figure out a way to dump it out into this ore cart. If I could get everybody over to this side over here, I'll demonstrate this real quick. That kind of demonstrates what it does. It tips that bucket out, dumps all the ore out, and then from there it goes to the surface.
Awesome.
Follow me this way. Watch your step on these rails. There we go. Takes about 2 minutes to get out.
What's the lake below us?
It's actually a sump. We get a lot of spring runoff from the snow, and that's where it ends up. And once that's full, we have to redirect it to somebody else's mine, so it's their problem after that.
Have you heard of the Empire State Mine up in Grass Valley, Nevada City, and Coloma, where gold was originally discovered?
No.
Okay.
Where gold was originally discovered?
In California, yeah.
Oh, in California.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I went from there, and it's also fascinating, but this is much more fascinating.
They're trying to open it for tourists again, but right now
They have too much water to pump out of all the shafts that they have, but they also have hundreds of miles of shafts under the towns of Nevada City and Grass Valley and
See out there, the gold is actually gold colored. So, I've been to Arizona and Nevada, and I've gone metal detecting and looking for gold out there. It's a lot different than here. Well, let's see if it's raining or snowing or what's going on up there.
Yeah, it's supposed to get some weather this afternoon, huh?
Yeah, we're supposed to get some rain. We got some pretty good thunderstorms yesterday.
Yeah, we're from the Springs. We kind of hang out on Old Stage Road there, but
Dude,
we like coming up here once in a while and doing stuff.
yeah, getting away from everything.
Heck yeah.
I'm actually from Iowa, and I lived in Ottumwa for a while. That's hilarious.
Yeah, we found out about Mollie Kathleen being from Ottumwa last night and kind of was shocked by that.
Lived there for a year and a half after high school. I know.
Come check it out.
There's not much.
Other people from Iowa made it weekend too.
Right.
Go ahead and throw your hard hats into the bucket there for me.
Thanks, sir.
Watch your fingers, guys. Come on out of there. Once you step out of there, go ahead and throw your hard hats into the bucket there.